Good morning, everyone. This is Diana Fernandezit. And today I will be discussing to you one of the topic in teaching listening that entitled The Problems that the Language Learners Face During the Listening. So one of the problem that may affect is in terms of the text. So we have here three types of text features that can affect listening. The first one is the phonology and speech rate. The second is the discourse features. And the third one is the text types. In terms of task, this influenced by the type of question, the amount of time, and whether or not the listener can get the info repeated. The next one is in terms of interlocutor or the speaker. This includes the accent, fluency, gender, and standard or non-standard usage. The first one is in terms of listener. Listener characteristic that includes the language proficiency, gender, memory, interest, purpose, prior knowledge, attention, accuracy of pronunciation, the topic familiarity, and established learning. And the last one is in terms of the process. This refers to type of processing that listeners use, whether top-down or bottom-up or both. The type of listening strategy used by the listener is an important factor. Post-listening stage. This is usually at the end of a lesson. These are offshoots or extension of the work done at the pre and while listening stage. At this stage, the students have time to think, reflect, discuss, and to write. So students need to act upon what they heard to clarify meaning and extend their thinking. Well-planned post-listening activities are just as important as those before and during. So here are some examples follow. The first one is to begin with. Students can ask questions of themselves and the speaker to clarify their understanding and confirm their assumption. Hook Evans, year 1982, suggests that post-mortem is a very useful device that the student could talk about what the speaker said, question statement of opinion, amplify certain remarks, and identify parallel incident from life and literature. Another one is that student can summarize a speaker presentation orally, in writing, or as an outline in addition to the traditional outline format. Students could use timelines, flowcharts, ladders, circles, diagrams, webs, or maps. Another one is that students can review their notes and add information that they have heard. And students can be given opportunities to engage in activities that build on developed concept acquired during an oral presentation. This may include writing, reading, and art drama. So here we have the listening task for communicative outcome. So we have two columns. The first column represents the communicative outcome and the second column represents the example. So in communicative outcome, we have the list, consequence information, match items, restored text, diagram or pictures, and the notes. So in list, the given example is to give the similarities or differences. Also the errors. In sequence information, examples are picture sequences, or it could be lyrics. In match item, the examples are pictures with text, themes with text. Into the restored text, the examples given are to complete the gaps in the text. In diagram or pictures, the example are floor plans or sketches of people. And into the notes, the example given are short notes during presentation. Next one is the one-way listening task or the transaction. It involves listening and responding through different ways to achieve outcome. They do not have to interact with the speaker while listening. It is mainly concerned with obtaining information and knowledge. So here we have two columns again. The first column represent the task, and the second column represent the response. So we can see that in the task, it includes the restoration, reconstruction, sorting, and evaluation, but there is no response. But in the task again, we have here the matching, which responds that match information from listening to pictures or written text. And the last one is the jigsaw, or the response is to create a whole from different parts. Of course, we have two-way listening task or the interaction. If the one-way listening task is an transaction, two-way listening task is interactional. So the listener has to interact with the speaker by asking questions, offering information, and expressing opinions. So again, we have two columns. The first column is the task and the second column is the response. So the first one is to create dictation. The response is that dictation to each other complete a text. Next one is the description. The response is sequence, reproduce, complete pictures or diagrams. The third task is simulation, and the response is listen and express opinion in simulated situation. And the last task is the presentation, and the response is to listen and respond to formal and informal presentation. Some practical listening strategies and activities. So here we have comprehensive listening strategies that usually in elementary. So, of course, since elementary, forming a picture is one of the strategy. So, we can draw an image, then write what the image or describe what the image could be. Then, putting information into groups. We can categorizing or chunking. Then, asking questions like, why I am listening to this message? Do I know what it means? Or does this information make sense to me? So, another strategies is to discovering the plan. It could be in description, sequence, comparison, cause and effect, or problem solution. Next one is to note taking. This demonstrate by taking notes with the children. And the last strategy is to getting clues from the speaker. It is either visual and verbal cues, but of course, it could be both. strategies and activities that we can use in critical listening. So, here naman, focus on intermediate to high school. So, this help children to recognize persuasion and propaganda deceptive language, loaded words, and propaganda devices. Here we have several steps to follow. The first step is to introduce the commercials. Second is to explain the deceptive language and then analyze it, review the concept, provide the practice, and now create commercial. The same procedure applies to advertisement. Appreciative listening that focus on primary. Enjoyment is the reason enough to read aloud to children. Appreciative listening is important for reading aloud to students, repeated readings, and oral presentation. And teaching appreciative listening that includes before reading aloud, during reading aloud, and after reading aloud. So, in before reading aloud, it includes the active prior knowledge, the background, setting purpose for reading. During reading aloud, we can use directed reading thinking or the DRTA or make predictions, reasoning, and further predictions that prove if predictions are true. And in after reading aloud, it includes sharing their log and relate to their lives. Authentic listening activities that focus on the different levels. So here we have the different strategies or the activities that can be used. Acting out a story from one that is read or being read. Making or doing something by following oral directions. Participating in class or group discussions. Getting information by listening to an announcement. Working on group project. Critique a peer draft of a story after listening to it. Enjoying good literature that is well presented orally. And then we can evaluating an issue that is being debated. Next, another one is to evaluating product advertised in commercials and evaluating candidates from their campaign speeches. I think this will my discussion end, and thank you everyone for listening.